we're well known for our conference, but I really want people to know that we have a lot of other programs and member resources as well. We're not just a conference. Um, Safety is our members' number one priority, and we have a number of safety resources for our members and the industry. Our safety committee spearheads a lot of these programs and resources like toolbox talks, FRA Part 243 minimum training standard templates, and a full library of soon to be 30 NRC safety videos.
You may know the American Railway Engineering and Maintenance of Way Association, or AREMA, as the, quote, keepers of the manuals. You may know them as the, quote, people behind the largest annual railroad conference in North America. Heck, you may not know about AREMA at all. This podcast is designed, no pun intended, to change your view of who AREMA is and how AREMA has changed the trajectory of many railway careers over its 100-plus year history. Welcome to Platform Chats with your host, Walt Blesser, where he takes a moment to discuss the impacts AREMA has had on the very people who are proud to be called members. Are you ready to roll with AREMA?
ARE Corporation is a proud supporter of AREMA and Platform Chats. If you are looking to take your railway structures career to the next level, or simply start it down the right track, please visit us at arecorp.com. Please see our brand new job postings on our careers page or on our LinkedIn page.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Platform Chats. I'm your host, Walt Blesser, and this is the last one for what has been an extremely tumultuous year for yours truly. Hoping very much to get back to a regular cadence on this show in 2024. I know it's always our goal to put out between 10 and 12 episodes a year. And this year, I think we only got out 6 to 8, something like that. And so I apologize. If you are a regular listener, you know it's been a wild year for me. And I apologize again for the intrusions of my personal life pushing hard into my podcast host life, which, believe it or not, is not my only job. I actually do other things. And so I'm trying to mix it all and balance it all. But hey, enough excuses. The excuse train has come and it's officially left the station. So we're going to put that behind us. We're going to close the year out with a bang. We're going to start 2024. I've got a great set of content coming your way. We're going to be talking about the upcoming symposium that's in February. We're going to talk a little bit about the big structures, all structures functional group meeting that's going to be tagging onto the symposium in February, which will be a first of its kind. I'm very excited about that, given that I guess I'm running it at this point, so I've got to be excited about it. And then we've got a bunch of other ideas too. We're going to have guests next year, including Human Resources from CSX has agreed to join us and talk about what they look for in railroad employees. We've even got a recruiter that said they would join us and talk about that too, because I'm starting to feel a shift in the market. I feel like the markets are, at least today, they're happy. Feels like inflation might be cooling off. It just feels kind of like maybe 24 will be a transitional year, and maybe just all the stuff that in 23 will be behind us. So long intro to not only get you excited about next year, but also to get you excited about what we're talking about today. And that is the NRC. That's an acronym that I will not define until my guest defines it for me. But I have the president of the NRC, and this is part of our series of talking to basically other associations that are AREMA's friends, if you will. And so we go to their conference, and they come to our conference, and we have a lot of members that cross-pollinate. And so it's just very advantageous for us to be friends with the American Short Line Association, with Chuck, as you guys heard earlier this year. And we also talked to with RTA, with Nate. That was a fun podcast. And today we're going to have Ashley Wieland, who is the president of the NRC, joining us today. And she's going to talk to us a little bit, not only about how in the world did she become the president of this organization, but also how and what role they play in the industry. So welcome to the show, Ashley, and just kick it off and tell us a little bit about yourself. How you started off in your career. Hey, even some personal facts are fun. Sounds like you got some kids, whatever you want to talk about.
Thanks, Walt. And thank you to AREMA for having me on this podcast. I'm Ashley Wieland, president of the National Railroad Construction and Maintenance Association, better known as the NRC. We are the trade association representing contractors and suppliers in the rail construction and maintenance space. We've got about 300 member companies that range from contractors, suppliers, engineering firms, attorneys, recruiting firms. And they range in size from small family-owned businesses who do work regionally to some of the largest companies in this industry that do this kind of work. The work includes track construction and maintenance, bridge construction and repair, rail yard work, signal and communications installation, things of that nature on the maintenance of way side. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, you know what? You just mentioned something there that the difference between you guys and Arima, just right out of the gates, you represent the companies, correct? As you know what I mean? Versus like Arima, we're mostly a professional association. And I think sometimes that gets foggy for some people.
Right. There's a lot of rail groups in the Washington, D.C. area and in the United States. I mean, all of us play a slightly different role. Some of us do have membership overlap, but yes, ARIMA is more of a professional organization for the railroads. Even though I know some of my members are members of ARIMA as well and participate on committees, but our members are companies. So anyone who is an employee of an NRC member company is in turn a member of the NRC. So yes, we represent the member companies.
Okay. That is similar to the short line association and actually I don't think RTA is like that, but that's very similar to what Chuck was doing as well. Mm-hmm. And so, and you guys, how big is the NRC?
We've got about 300 member companies. And as far as staff goes, it's myself, my colleague, Mike McGonigal, who's our VP of Operations and Government Affairs, our VP of Finance, Nicole Womack, and we just hired a Operations and Meeting Manager, Marion Barreto.
Perfect. And you guys are responsible for what I consider one of the more fun conferences to kick off the year. Is that right? You guys usually pick a pretty nice, warm location in January?
That's right. The NRC conference alternates between South Florida and Southern California every January. This next month, it's going to be a month from now. We're going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona at the Fairmont Princess. It'll be January 3rd through the 6th. And, registration's really strong. We're sold out in the exhibit hall. We're going to have over 130 exhibiting member companies, which we're really excited about. We partner our trade show with REMSA. That's been successful. So I want to give a shout out to REMSA and thank them for their partnership on the exhibit hall. Where I think one of the highlights of the conference is not only the location, but just the networking opportunities and the camaraderie. And it kind of kicks off the year and gets everyone excited for, what various railroad customers have in their upcoming CapEx and what the transit agencies and passenger rail are doing as well. So I feel like it really helps set the tone for the year, and we're really proud of that.
I agree completely. It's something I have looked forward to in the past. It's been a minute since I've been to your conference. I apologize for that. It's usually right after New Year's, and it's that first week. I think the last one I went to was maybe in Palm Desert. So that
would have been 2014. That's
10
years.
Exposed on the pod on the podcast.
Called out.
Man, I do apologize. Yeah, I know Arima actually had some of the NRC members. You guys were nice enough to loan us some space for a committee meeting. So we were able to meet as a committee at NRC. So it was like a double whammy. It was really kind of a nice thing to do.
Well, we would welcome that for your committee to come back and meet, or any ARIMA committee to come meet at the NRC conference.
Ooh, that's a great plug, because we're always looking. I'm telling you, our committees are always looking for space. And as we grow, as you know, space is not cheap. So
we do know that as conference planners there. And we're also going to have the incoming ARIMA president, Ray, with Amtrak's going to be giving an ARIMA update that Friday morning at the conference. And so I think some members will be eager to hear that and what he has planned for his presidency over ARIMA for that year.
Oh, very cool. So that would be, so the third, just so I want to stay on this because it's fresh in people's minds. If they're thinking about registering, is there still time?
Yes, there's still time to register. Our golf event is sold out and our trap shooting event is sold out. The hotel also sold out, but we are maintaining a wait list in case there are cancellations in our room block. So certainly reach out to NRC staff to get on that wait list. But there's a ton of hotels in the area that folks could stay at as overflow. But yes, registration is still open. We'll kick off on the 3rd at 4:30 p.m. with a welcome reception in the exhibit hall. And then general session will run Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we'll conclude with a finale reception Saturday evening. So plan to check out Sunday morning.
See, this is an interesting, the timing of this podcast is great too, because we're coming off of a really big railway interchange, which I know you attended, and just the format of that and the format of the ARIMA conference, right, is it's currently under discussion about potential changes. And, we've been doing the same thing for a long time, and we pack a lot of technical sessions into our Tuesdays. I mean, it's like 8 a.m. to 5 of just back to back to back to back technical sessions. And there's been some comments of, hey, maybe is there a way to stretch this out? Is there a way to move things around? You guys, if I remember right, you do sessions in the morning, and then aren't the afternoons oftentimes left a little bit more open for networking? Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, because I feel like that's a totally more progressive way. Progressive might not be the right word. It's different than what ARIMA does.
That's true, Walt. We kick off our general session pretty early in the morning. I've heard some members say it's a little too early, but I say, you guys are in the railroad industry. You all are used to these early mornings, so I don't want to hear it just because you're in Scottsdale. But yeah, traditionally, we have had the sessions be fairly early in the morning and run until about noon. And then that gives you some free time in the afternoons to catch up with customers or connect with vendors, catch up on emails. We all know we go to these conferences that are 3-4 days long and come back to an infinite number of messages in your inbox. But I would also say that, that Thursday of the conference, we do have some breakout sessions. So if your afternoon's looking a little light, you can come by the breakout sessions. We'll have our friends from the FRA giving an update on CFR Part 243 minimum training standards. And then some folks from the League of Railway Women will be presenting a couple topics as well. And our popular speed networking event with a couple of our railroad guests will also be taking place. So there's certainly some stuff to do in the afternoon on Thursday. And then in the afternoons on Friday, we're sold out on 2 golf courses at the TPC Scottsdale at the Champion and Stadium courses, which is going to be great. And for those who aren't golfing, they're going to the trap shooting, which will also be some good time to network and catch up with some friends.
Man, that actually sounds quite fun. Not a golfer. I do know my way around a 12 gauge, and I would love to participate in something like that. I had no idea, and I think that's just a neat way of getting into small groups and chatting with potential customers and different industry folks, and while still maintaining a presence at the conference. So that's cool. Mm-hmm. Is the trap shooting new?
Yes, we have not done a trap shooting event before. That will be new.
Cool. Yeah, because I know historically there's been a lot of golf events. I think Palm Desert for sure, and then especially in Florida as well, right?
Right. Yeah, the golf is a mainstay that we do every year. In Florida, we've done fishing in Everglades, and then on the West Coast, we've done whale watching, hiking excursions. Last time we were in the Phoenix area. So it just kind of depends on the interest and what's available and the location we go to.
Cool. I did a horrible job of glazing right over an introduction of who you are, even though I know prior to recording we discussed what I would call a loose outline. I do apologize. I am relatively shoot from the hip kind of guy. The question I did want to ask here before we get too far down the road, we did cover the conference, but I want to talk a little bit about you. And you're from California originally. I know you're sitting in the DC area now. How in the world did you get to this seat?
Right. So yeah, I grew up in Southern California, Riverside area, for those who are familiar with SoCal. Went to school at the University of California, Riverside, studied political science. During my time there, I did a semester in Washington, D.C. I did an internship on Capitol Hill for my home member of Congress in his DC office, which was great and really kind of gave me a taste for DC, and I really liked it. When I came back to California, I had the itch to get back to DC. Uh, when I graduated school, it wasn't a great time for the job market. It was '09, so,
Mm.
a lot was going on. Not a lot of people were hiring. And I was working as a paralegal right out of college for a production company in Santa Monica and just decided I didn't like my job. And so I just put in my notice and I bought a one-way ticket to DC. I had a friend that was there and I was able to split an apartment with them. And, prior to moving, I had been putting the feelers out for jobs on the Hill and jobs at think tanks and trade associations, policy focused, legislatively focused jobs. I was really into kind of that scene. Um, and, when I would interview, they'd say, "Hey, you're in California. How serious are you about coming out to DC?" And so that's when I kind of knew that like I had to take that leap. Um, so I got to DC, lined up a bunch of in-person interviews, and like within 2 weeks, I landed a job at the Design Build Institute of America, DBIA, in their legislative affairs department. I really got a taste for kind of transportation industry, construction, infrastructure while I was there. And after about a year there, I felt like I had enough experience under my belt to springboard to another association. And that's when I landed at the NRC in 2012.
Oh, wow. So you've been at the NRC for a minute.
Yes, I would say a little longer than a minute. I did take some time. I did leave the NRC for a couple of years, and I worked at the American Traffic Safety Services Association as their director of state government relations, and really enjoyed being there as well. Again, transportation infrastructure focused, really kind of grew to be my passion. And after a couple of years there, I had an opportunity to come back to the NRC and was really excited about it just because I really like the rail industry in this way that, I mentioned transportation infrastructure being a passion that I grew to love. It's not, people say, "How'd you get into the transportation industry?" And I say, I didn't choose the transportation industry. It chose me. And, I find the railroad issues very dynamic and interesting. And so I really was excited to come back to the NRC, and I had missed a lot of the members and a lot of the friends that I had made during my first stint there. So it was great to get back. And that was in 2019.
And that was in 2019. Okay, cool. Just in time to work on large conferences that are about to get canceled.
Yeah, I guess if we wanted to approach that in 2020, we had our conference in January when the world was normal. And it was so funny when, well, maybe not funny, but, when the world started shutting down, I thought, oh, thank goodness we had a conference. And my conference isn't 2 weeks from now, it was the 2 weeks to slow the spread. And but that with the direction of the NRC board, we really navigated that well. We went kind of online like a lot of the other groups did, and brought a lot of high level, webinars, some good content for folks to stay connected, even though we couldn't physically be together.
So yeah, did you transition to 100%? I guess you must have, obviously, to webinars and seminars. When did you first come back in person? What year was that?
January of 22, which was also very interesting. Okay. We had Omicron surging, so had a lot of last minute cancellations from a number of folks, but we held a very safe meeting, a very fruitful meeting. I had a lot of members approach me and say, "Thank you so much for doing this. We've really been itching to get back. We're ready. We can do it safely, knowing what we know now about the virus that was going around at the time." So we were really happy to do it.
And so then 23, where were you last year? Or this year, I guess.
Yeah, it was this year. We were at the Boca Raton.
Okay. And was it full force?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
record number of attendees. Overall great program, and I think has really set us up nicely to go into 2024.
Okay. Yeah. So 20, and it sounds like based on what you said just a few minutes ago that 2024 is looking like it's already sold out. Most of your events are sold out. So you must be very excited about the traction you're getting. Where are you guys going in 25? Not to look past Scottsdale, but I assume you're going back to the East Coast.
That's correct. We'll be at Marco Island at the JW there.
Oh, so you guys really do bounce around. Yes, west to east, but you don't just go to the same location over and over and over. Sounds like.
Not always, although I will say with the rate at which we are growing, the number of venues that can hold us the list is getting a lot smaller unless we
Cool.
want to go to a convention center kind of setup, which I've heard from attendees and folks that, we don't really want to go to the big convention center. We prefer to be a little more intimate in one of these bigger hotels where we own the space and own all the rooms. And it just makes it easier for organic interaction and networking when you're all staying at the same hotel and running into people that way.
There's definitely pros and cons to that. I could not agree more. I mean, as Arima kept growing, I've told my wife before that when you attend Arima, as soon as you walk in the lobby, it's on. I mean, every elevator ride, every hallway walk, every time you're in the fitness center, it doesn't matter. You're probably going to run into somebody. So you just kind of feel like you're on nonstop unless you're asleep in those intimate settings.
One last thing one thing I wanted to bring up, we've talked a lot about the conference, which is great because it is definitely what is coming up on deck here, and we're really excited about it. But, we're well known for our conference, but I really want people to know that we have a lot of other programs and member resources as well. We're not just a conference. Safety is our members' number one priority, and we have a number of safety resources for our members and the industry. Our safety committee spearheads a lot of these programs and resources like toolbox talks, FRA Part 243 minimum training standard templates, and a full library of soon to be 30 NRC safety videos.
Wow, so, that's a lot. So you beat me to it. I mean, I was heading that way. I did want to hammer out your conference details, but the role NRC, so Arima, right? This is the Arima podcast, but obviously our focus is maintaining and updating the manual and technical specifications for all aspects of the maintenance of way of the railway system. Your role with, I just heard safety. Are there other key roles, or if there's a listener right now that's like, hey, that sounds really interesting, how do I get involved? That I feel like that's another thing maybe you could speak to.
Sure. I would say for NRC members, the best way to get involved is to get involved in a committee, right? Like Arima has a number of committees, and that's really the best way to stay involved and have your voice heard. We have a membership committee, we have a scholarship committee. I mentioned our safety committee. We have an auction committee every spring. The NRC hosts an equipment auction. And the proceeds from that auction help to benefit some of the safety programs that I just mentioned earlier, including the production of our safety videos. And so this year we put out a video focused on mental wellness, and it addresses mental health and fitness of duty for contractor employees, meaning not only are they physically fit to perform the work, but it also takes into consideration an employee's mental fitness and their overall health, and how managers can intervene if they suspect that an employee might be struggling with depression or substance abuse. And this video is really a departure from some of the other ones. Some of the other videos are like safety around track equipment, or safety on a tie gang, how to build a turnout, other special track work like that. Our safety committee worked really hard on this video, and we're really proud of it. And we think it's very timely for a lot of what's going on right now in the workforce. We hope it'll be a good resource for members. And
wow, yeah, that's fascinating. It is absolutely timely, and I had no idea that was produced. So how does someone get to watch or have access to said video?
If you log into your members only portal on the NRC website, All the videos are listed there at the library, or you could reach out to any of us on NRC staff and we will send you a flash drive with the videos.
Oh, cool. Okay. Now, I do notice a theme with a lot of the trade organization and trade association leadership tends to come from those that are politically active, including yourself, or those that had an interest in politics at a young age and moved to DC and have experience on the Hill. The NRC, I know there was at one point an organization, there was a firm, a lobbying firm that housed some of the trade organizations in DC. Is this separate? Is it on its own, or are you part of a different organization?
So the NRC is managed by an association management firm called TGA AMS LLC. My colleague Matt Ginsberg heads up that firm, and he also heads up our lobbying efforts in Washington, D.C. This year, the NRC hosted its first ever rail contractor focused fly-in, which was really exciting for us. This year has been really interesting for the rail industry on Capitol Hill in light of East Palestine. We've really been under a microscope, and not only on Capitol Hill, but just nationally, right, on the national stage. And it wasn't always positive attention, right? So, in the wake of that, I think that caused Railroad Day on the Hill to be canceled for the year. And it really gave us an opportunity for our policy and legislative committee to host their own rail contractor focused fly-in, which we were really proud of.
Cool. And Railroad Day on the Hill, who is behind that? Is it all the organizations come together? Because I've actually attended
the lion's
that.
share. Yeah, it's the lion's share. You've got AAR, the Short Line Association, RTA, REMSA, NRC. We really do try to make it an entire industry effort. Folks from labor as well register and participate traditionally. Not sure what the future of Railroad Day looks like. I think that's a next year question. But I think having our voice heard on Capitol Hill is really important. They say if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So, it's important that these folks who are going to be looking at legislation that are going to impact our industry, that they hear our side of the story and understand our industry.
Well, another reason I enjoy doing this podcast is I've not heard that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So thank you for that. I did not, but that's an interesting way of looking at it. And so as a member of NRC, and obviously you have legislative chops yourself, so that's probably a big part of what NRC does, correct? Is to lobby on behalf of member organizations, or am I in left field here?
No, that's spot on. I mean, we really want to be a resource for legislators and folks at the FRA. We work very closely with them and have good relationships with members of Congress on committees of jurisdiction that pertain to our industry. It's important that we stay in touch with them and maintain these relationships. And with the turnover in Congress, it's a never-ending job, a revolving door of getting to know people. When committee membership gets mixed up and changes, we got to make sure we're meeting with the right folks and that they're hearing our side of our industry and what we do for the economy. It's really important.
Very cool. Okay. And so the event that you guys planned, when did that take place?
It was last
the fly-in,
April.
Last April. Because the Day on the Hill is usually April, May?
Springtime's a really popular time for groups to come in and meet.
Okay, cool. So are you going to do it again? Or is that to be determined?
I think it's highly likely. I think there's a lot of interest from the policy and legislative committee and our board to make this an annual event.
Okay, excellent. Cool. Well, it sounds like you seem like you have a positive outlook on the future. You seem like you have a positive outlook on the industry. And is that true? This is me listening to what you're saying and hearing you talk about the numbers and how NRC's grown and the conference is outgrowing its hotels. And it's such a great story that you're telling. And what do you think the next few years has in store for our industry?
I'd say the rail contracting industry is coming off some very strong years. Really good years, even in light of a global pandemic and an impending recession. I think the outlook is really positive. Class 1 capital expenditures have remained consistently strong over the past few years. There's been some announcements from some of the Class 1s about layoffs. And so I think that is still to be seen how that'll impact our industry, whether, it'll put more pressure on contractors or, whether there'll be more opportunities.
Yeah, it does seem that like through COVID, it just seemed like the railroads. This is my opinion. This is no longer the opinion of Arima, but it just seemed to me like living it. The railroads have always been really good at saying or taking advantage of bad times, so to speak, from a capital expenditure contractor perspective. It seems like if car counts start to go down on a certain main line, to them it's like, okay, well, we can get more work windows. During COVID, if there's an opportunity that there's more, anytime that seems like there's less traffic, which is not a great thing for the railroads, it also seems like there's enough backlog of things that need to get done that they take advantage of that up and use it as an opportunity to get out and fix stuff. Because it seems like some amazing projects have been presented and or completed in the last 2 to 3 years. So, and it sounds like you agree.
That's spot on. And, the rail grant programs that received record funding from the IIJA are starting to trickle down to rail contractors and suppliers. And they'll continue to do that over the next couple of years. Sometimes, government takes a while to get that stuff out. But, we had record Amtrak funding, CRISI grants, railroad crossing elimination grants, federal state partnership grants, and FTA New Starts, which all continue to provide a really steady stream of opportunities for railroad contractors.
I was just going to say CRISI. I don't. Okay, so that affects my company. Does quite a bit of work with short line railroads, and the funding that we saw this fall, this September, seemed tremendous. I don't know. I don't want to put you on a spot here, but I assume some of those funding is record level funding. Yes.
Right. And, with CRISI in particular, that benefits the short lines. A lot of short lines run pretty lean and mean, and so they don't have an in-house workforce, and so they contract a lot of that stuff out to my members.
That's kind of, what I figured. So you guys are forecasting a pretty strong 24-25 is what I'm hearing here based on just what you are seeing. And a lot of the funding that was released this fall, I know specifically for us, the CRISIs, I remember, I want to say we put together proposals for CRISIs in the spring of last year, if not fall of last year, and they just got announced in September. Don't hold me to that, but that sounds right. Mm-hmm. Meaning that shovels go in dirt in 24, right? So that's the contractor side, which is you guys.
That's right.
Cool. Wow, that's awesome. It seems like it's a great, I don't know, it seems like it's a great industry to be a part of. Depending on which cocktail party you go to, some people are more doom and gloom about the economy than others, but it just seems like our specific niche economy we're speaking about with the rail industry is a good place to be. Do you have little children?
I do. I have a 5-year-old who just started kindergarten this fall, and I have a 2-year-old who keeps us on our toes.
Yes, that definitely would keep you on your toes. I'm right there with you. I'm 4 and 2. So where I'm going with that is, do you have enough confidence in this industry that you think, hey, 10 so years down the road that you would tell your kids to pursue a potential profession in some aspect of the rail industry? I mean, are you that excited about it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's very rewarding careers in the rail industry. Like I mentioned earlier, it's an exciting industry. It's dynamic. There's certainly issues that come up, but they're always interesting on the problem solving side. And, you can have a very rewarding career in the rail industry. We talk about workforce development a lot, and especially how since the pandemic, it's been really hard to get skilled labor, folks to come to work. And I think that as an industry, we're starting to do a better job at tooting our own horn and talking about how blessed we are to be in this industry and how exciting it is and how it's a rewarding career. It's the industry that moves industry. People think their Amazon packages show up via drone, but it's like, no, it had to probably start on a railroad before it got to your front door. So it's essential, it's vital, it's recession proof, it's pandemic proof, dare I say. So it's, yes, absolutely.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that up. So other than I wish at some point during that last little shtick, I had a railroad horn sound I could have made when you said toot our own horn. I would have absolutely hit that
blow
button
the whistle. Yeah. I think it's my iPhone ring.
There you go. Well, yep, absolutely. Well, that's a great place to stop. So as I do with most of my guests, I will give you, if there's anything else you wanted to get out there, feel free. And if there's not, that's fine too.
Yeah, I think we covered it. I mean, I could have a conversation for, I could talk about this forever, but, I know we've got places to be and things to do and a conference to plan. So we'll get back to it, but I'm really excited to see everyone in January. And, I'm really proud to be a part of this industry, to represent this organization. And I'm really proud of my members, and it's truly a blessing and an honor to represent them here in DC. So look forward to seeing everyone in January.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. And I know many of our members will see you down in Arizona, January 3rd to the 6th. And honestly, I'm going to see what I can do to maybe pop in and say hello.
Excellent. Have a safe day, everyone.
Thank you for rolling with ARIMA on today's episode of Platform Chats. For further information about ARIMA, please visit arema.org or contact us at info@arima.org.